This week, we celebrate the birthday of humanity. That's right. Adam and Eve are only 5,775 years old. What significance does this have for you? Well, this week presents a unique opportunity for you to attach yourself and open your life to blessing, potential, and prosperity. I'm Rabbi Wyne, and you're watching Life is Great. Good morning and welcome back. You know, this week we are going to celebrate Rosh HaShanah. It's the Jewish New Year, but it is great significance for every person, whether you're Jewish or not. As a matter of fact, this is a time when we believe that God looks down and resets all of our lives. The Almighty judges every person in this world at least once a year. And when He judges us, He sets for us our potential for blessing, our potential for, well, quite frankly, everything in our life. How much money will you make? What will your relationships be? How much health will you have? Will you get pleasure or frustration from your children? Every aspect of our lives, the potential is going to be set in the coming year, starting on Rosh HaShanah, on the Jewish New Year. I'd like to take a few moments today and share with you certain strategies that will help you achieve a tremendous amount of goodness in the coming year. You know, many years ago when my kids were young, I turned to them and said, hey, you know, it's Rosh HaShanah, it's the birthday of Adam and Eve. We celebrate their birthday. My kid turns to me and says, wow, you know, if it's his birthday, we should get Adam a present. I go, what do you want to give him? He says, he could probably use a new fig leaf. Okay, so again, when we look at Torah, when we look at the Bible, we don't look at it only through the eyes of a child. Sometimes it's very beneficial to do that, but as adults, we want to take the lessons in the Torah, the lessons in the Bible, and apply them in a way that it really enhances our life in every possible way. So let's look at some of these time-tested strategies about Jewish wisdom and Jewish values that really are applicable to all of humanity. The first thing a person should do when establishing themselves and saying, I want to literally reset my life, you know, just like on your computer, a lot of us have that little button, you just go, boink, and then all of a sudden it goes, zoom, vroom. That's what we're trying to do. The first strategy is live your life with as much appreciation as you can. Whereas we have to really stop and appreciate everything that God has given us and appreciate everything that God's emissaries, humanity, other people, our parents, our employers, our employees, our children, our spouses, whomever is in our life and whoever has benefited us. Now is a time to stop for a moment and appreciate everything that we have, every blessing that has been bestowed upon us, and yes, appreciate everything that has been withheld from us. See the good in it. See, the first thing about lifting our lives to a point where I'm living in the now and I'm feeling the pleasure and I'm feeling happy is it clears our mind. If we want to live a future filled with blessing, you got to go to the whiteboard and go, get rid of all the stuff that's clouding it out. And the first ways to do that is be happier. Live with appreciation. Go through all these blessings. Say, wow, I got this, I got my health, I got a mind, I got talents, I've made a living, I can support my family. Whatever your pleasures are, whatever your blessings are, whether they are grand or small, take a few moments and appreciate them. The first thing that will do is it will clear your mind. The next thing it does is, believe it or not, you're going to stand before God and ask Him for more. If you want the Almighty, or anyone for that matter, who has bestowed goodness on you in the past, to bestow even more goodness in the future, have gratitude. Say thank you. Saying thank you to the Almighty, saying thank you to the people who've helped us, allows them to open their hearts and bestow even more goodness in the future. So therefore, strategy number one about opening our lives to a tremendous amount of blessings in the future is start being a little happier, take a few moments, lift your spirits, and feel appreciative of all the blessings you've received so far. All right, the next strategy is make amends with as many people as you possibly can who you have hurt. First ask yourself, is there anybody out there that you're a little at odds with. Now, for many of us, when we don't get along with somebody, what we do is we just kind of stay away from them. But don't just stay away from people who perhaps you've hurt them, you've hurt their feelings, or even perhaps even other harm. Don't just stay away from the people who've caused you hurt. Take a moment, go over to them at this time of year and say, if you're sorry, say, you know what? I harmed you. I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. Can we put this behind us and move forward? And if they have hurt you and they're not willing to say they're sorry, be the bigger person. Go up to them and just wish them a happy holiday. At least that. At least that. Maybe when you call them up and you kind of want to move forward with your life and theirs, maybe they will be just stirred in order to recognize that they have hurt you, and maybe they will extend a hand and they will say they're sorry to you. We'll talk more about this next week when it actually becomes a little more significant before the holiday of Yom Kippur. But for now, we have to recognize that God treats us the way we treat others. It's very interesting. If you look in your Bible stories, Moses turns to God and says, God, you're asking me to go to Egypt and redeem the Jewish people. What if they ask, who sent me? What should I say? And God says, tell them, I am who I am. I will be that who I will be. So our tradition teaches us that what was God saying? He says, I will be to you the way you are to me. I will be to you the way you are to others. And when King David writes in the book of Psalms that God is my shadow, that refers to just like a shadow. I raise my hand, my shadow raises its hand. And I scratch my nose, my shadow looks like it's kind of scratching my nose. If I smile at the world, I smile at the Almighty is my shadow. The world, the Almighty, will smile back at me. And if I judge others and I put others down, then the Almighty will put me down as well. We understand one of the spiritual rules in life is that God treats us the way we treat His children. God treats us the way we treat Him. If I want to put the Almighty down at number 27 priority in my life, then I will feel that the Almighty puts me down at number 27 priority in my life. But if I take the Almighty and I raise Him, I say, Hashem, nothing comes before you, then the Almighty will make me perceive that He is taking my needs and making my needs of the utmost importance in His existence. So, the second strategy for attaining a year filled with blessing is take a moment, make amends with as many people as you can. Go up to people. Say to them, listen, I'm not even sure if I harmed you, but if I did harm you this year at all, so then let me know so that I can repent. Let me know so I can say I'm sorry properly. When people do that, boy, you end up smoothing out a lot of things that you didn't even know was wrong. As a matter of fact, our Talmud, our body of Jewish tradition, teaches us that we should endeavor to be like the students of Aharon. Aaron was Moses' brother. What did he do? He spent a lifetime creating peace amongst men. When he saw that two people were arguing, he'd go over to one of them and say, hey, you know what? That fellow over there, he came, he told me he was so sorry. He regrets being at odds with you. If he could have changed, there's too much pride, so to speak, for him to go over to you and say he's sorry, but he's really sorry. And then he'd go over to that guy and say, I was speaking with that fellow over there. He says he's so sorry, but he just can't bring himself to extend his hand in friendship. And then when the two people who were at odds, when they met each other in the marketplace, they would embrace each other and say, listen, water under the bridge. Come on, let's go forward. Be like the students of Aaron. Bring peace amongst men. Bring peace amongst yourself and others that there's disagreement with. You'll open yourself up to a year filled with blessing because you will have peace not only with yourself, but you'll have peace with God. All right. Now that you're feeling great, you're very appreciative of everything you have in your life. You've stopped and you've made amends with perhaps some people that you were a little at odds with. Now we're up to the next section. Number 3, how do you open yourself up for great pleasure in this world? First thing is, know what you want to do with your life. See, the Almighty last year gave you a year of your life. and hopefully it was pretty good. But if you just stop and say, well, how can I really show God and others that I appreciate the gifts they give me? If somebody came and gave you a gift for a tablecloth, so how do you show them that you appreciate the tablecloth? Are you going to take it and toss it in the corner? Or are you going to stop and say, oh, thank you so much? You'll spread it out on the table. You'll iron it at the right temperature. You'll make a beautiful table setting. Then you invite them over and say, look at the beautiful tablecloth. I'm so appreciative of it. And then when you're finished with the dinner, you'll take it, you'll clean it properly, and you'll use it again and again. God has already given you a year, perhaps many years of life. Did you really show the Almighty that you valued His gift? What have you done? What have you been doing with your life? So this step requires that we should ask ourselves for a few moments, if you could redo your life, what choices, what actions would you change? You know, we're all born into a certain family. We're born in situations, you know, and for most of us, wherever we're born, it's pretty good, you know? But at the same time, there's choices that we make. There's actions and goals that we have or don't have. And then the days and weeks and months kind of go by. And for some people, they just like flitter away. So if you've been coming to Young Israel Aish, going to the classes and listening to the sermons, listening to the rabbi show on the radio, watching the YouTube videos, or watching this show every week, then you know that I'm always sending out a message of be happy, be grateful. But take a moment, okay? Continue to be grateful to the Almighty and others who've benefited you. But be a little tough on yourself, just for a moment, and ask yourself in a real sense, if you could change some of the life decisions that you've made, how would you redo them? Because now is your opportunity to reset the button and say, just because I made that decision last week and last month, just because I eat a half a gallon of ice cream every single day, it doesn't mean that you have to keep doing it tomorrow. Yes, you can reset your life, but you have to know what you want. You have to know where you want to go. And by knowing where we want to go with our lives, that's one of the ways we show God that we appreciate that which He's given us. The next step on this one is ask yourself if there's somebody you admire. Ask yourself if there's somebody out there you know and you admire an aspect about their life and find out how did they get to where they got to. See, many times people are unclear in terms of, well, we have this nebulous goal, I want to be happier, I wish I had a little more money, wish I was in better health. But you know what, find a role model and say, how did my role model get to where they want to go? Chances are your path to get that blessing in your life will not be so different than what they did. Maybe you are 90% off of that, and maybe you're only 5% off of that. So ask yourself in a real sense, who do I know that has accomplished certain valuable things? You know somebody who has a really good marriage? Say, what are they doing in their marriage that perhaps I can incorporate into my marriage? Maybe you look at their children, you say, wow, you know, I dig those kids. That guy, I don't know what that couple's doing, but they raised some nice kids. Well, go over to them and ask them. Find out. It's a person who's succeeding in your profession. Well, how exactly did they get to where they are? Because it might be just a small adjustment that you can do in order to dramatically advance yourself in the coming year. Now the third step, make for yourself a life plan. Understand what your goals are. I'll ask you some hard questions. You want to figure out what your life goals are? Well, first thing you have to know is a life goal is something that if you did not accomplish it, in 20 years from now, you will regret you didn't do it. Again, don't be stuck, don't be hung up with, oh, I got to just always appreciate everything I have and be happy. The rabbi says be happy all the time. Understand that there are things you want out of your life, and it's good to want things. So now this next step is write out your life goals. Make some big goals, really grand, and make some things small goals, little accomplishments, things that you can accomplish. And by the way, never minimize the value of something small, of doing something small. There's a story told, there's a very great rabbi, very well-known rabbi in Jerusalem. You know, the type of fellow who affects thousands of people's lives. So one day he's leaving his synagogue, and he's walking in the streets in Jerusalem, and he sees a little girl. She's on the corner, and she's like 7 years old. She's crying. So he crosses the street, right? It's the Sabbath, so there's no cars on the street. So he walks over, and he goes down, he sits down on the ground next to the girl. He says, little girl, why are you crying? And the girl said, because my friends told me that I'm wearing an ugly dress. So he said, what's your name? She said, it's Shoshana. He said, will you go to your friends and you tell them that the rabbi says you have a beautiful dress and a beautiful name? And she got up all smiling. She ran over to her friends. Now again, this is in a community where everybody really values what the rabbi says. So the people that were with the rabbi, they said, Rebbe, why'd you do that? You're walking one way, you literally turn, cross the street, sat down. So the rabbi turned and said, we find, it says in the Torah, that God wipes away the tears of his children. And if the Almighty can endeavor to wipe away the tears of his children, then we should do the exact same thing. There's nothing small about doing a small act of kindness. As a matter of fact, you'll know that the bigger the person is, the more they value the smaller things in life. And the smaller the person is, the less they value even the bigger things in life. So not only should you make goals that are some really big and maybe even a little difficult to achieve, and some that are very, very small and more easily achieved, but your goals should be in 3 areas. There should be goals between you and yourself. These might be financial goals. They might be health goals. Then you should have goals between yourself and other people, the people you love. The goals, relationship goals. How can you treat your family better? How can you become closer to your coworkers? Or how can you play a bigger, more important role within your community? Because remember, by the way, the more how we treat others is how God treats us. So this area of goals is very, very important. Make yourself even more valuable to your community so that you will be more valuable to the Almighty. And then the Almighty is more apt to send blessings your way. And finally, you should have spiritual goals too. Goals in terms of what is your relationship with God? How can you become closer to the Almighty in the coming year? Perhaps it involves doing other mitzvahs, performing certain commandments, maybe praying more. Whatever it is, make sure that the goals fall in these 3 areas. All right, so listen, we want to kind of close up now, but if you ever wonder, okay, now that you're feeling good, you're appreciative of your life, you've mended the fences, you're feeling better about your relationships with other people, and you've actually stopped and said, hey, I've got real goals, I got a life plan. God, there's things I want to accomplish in the coming year. You know what can help you? The Torah. Learning Torah, getting back to the Bible, learning about Judaism, is going to help you achieve all of these things. So right now I want to give you just a little taste of some of the Jewish traditions that if you hook in on Rosh HaShanah, you hook in on this Jewish New Year, at this time, if you hook with these traditions, they will help you accomplish all the things that we've been talking about. So, number 1, the first one is go up to people and ask for forgiveness. Take care of that, mend the fences. The next thing is there's a tradition at this time of year to annul our vows. It's interesting, we make promises. Sometimes you make promises because you say, hey, listen, I promise you that I'll show up at 4 o'clock today. Sometimes you make promises because you're doing things for people on a regular basis. We don't always keep our vows. Not every promise is a good promise to keep. Sometimes we're muscled into making a promise, and it might be negative for us or negative for others. Reevaluate all of your promises, all of your commitments, and reset the button. The good ones, renew them as promises and commitments. And some that perhaps you can't keep, some that you've made that are not positive and that you should not keep. So then, reset the button and get them annulled. The third tradition is, there's a beautiful custom that on Rosh HaShanah evening, on the Jewish New Year, we take apple and we dip it in the honey. There's a cute little song we sing, dip the apple in the honey, make a blessing loud and clear, L'shana tova umatuka, for a happy, sweet New Year. Okay, what are we doing? We dip apples in honey. We dip our bread in honey. Find sweet things. Look around for the fun things in life. Look around for the good things in your life. And by focusing on them and talking about the sweet things in your life, you'll lift yourself and you'll lift the people around you. The next tradition is spend time in shul with other people. You know, this is a time, it happens to be that my birthday falls this year on Rosh HaShanah, September 26th. So my dad calls me and he says, you know, every Jew in the world is going to be celebrating your birthday by going to synagogue. Okay, so what happens is this. You know what you really should do? You should stop. This is where Jews are. And if you're not Jewish, then take time and go with your people. Stop, and you're always welcome to swing on by Young Israel Aish of Las Vegas if you're here. Promise we'll make it feel welcome. But, you know, come and be with your people. That's what you should be. Connect with your people. Even if you're not so into God or traditions or being religious, be with your people. The next thing you should do is use the power of prayer. Get God on your side, so to speak. You know, we have to remember, if a person was feeling very ill and they went to the hospital and the doctor said there's no hope for you. And then they heard about a great physician that was coming to town to visit them. They don't know if the physician has a solution to the problem. They don't know if they can pay the physician. But all of a sudden, they will be filled with hope. Whatever problem you have, the Almighty can take care of it. Will He take care of it? I don't know. I'm not a prophet. But He can take care of it. The Almighty can totally change everything. He created the world, continuously creates everything. So you know what? Use the power of prayer. At least when you speak to God, realize before whom you stand. And even that will give you a great deal of hope. Yeah. Now, I could tell you, and you will tell me, hey, Rabbi, I can go pray by myself. I'll go to Red Rock. I'll do it in my bedroom, whatever. Do it with the people. Be part of the Jewish people. The collective merits together gives a tremendous power to our prayers. The sixth point right now is give charity. Right now is the time to give. Show God that you appreciate everything He's given to you. Take 10% of your income, make a commitment to do it, and start giving to charity. If you need some place to give, help support this program and the spreading of Jewish values and goodness around the world. You can go to www.therabbishow.com, go to the donation page. Not only do I appreciate it, but everybody, the thousands of people that see this program, will appreciate your support. And finally, the last point to make sure, to make a ceiling, make sure this is a great year ever, hear the shofar being blown. Come to synagogue, come to Young Israel Aish, listen to the blow, the blast of the shofar, as we literally coronate the Almighty as our King this year, annul any bad decree that ever could have been issued against us, and raise our prayers to the highest levels of heaven. Shana Tova, and have a sweet year.
Want more wine? Turn your radio to AM 720 KDWN or go online to therabbishow.com to hear The Rabbi Show starting right after the news at 9 a.m.
Do you know someone who needs a little more happiness in their life? Maybe it's you who needs more happiness in your life. Yes, you've seen the Life is Great TV show. You perhaps have heard the Rabbi Show. But now it's time to get Life is Great, Revealing the 7 Secrets to a More Joyful You. This book was something tangible that you can give your friends and family, where they can keep by their bedside, take it on vacation, leaf through it page at a time or chunk of pages at a time, and each time they will learn another secret, another tool that they can use in order to get the absolute most out of life. What better present can you give your friends and family than the wisdom to live a better life? In order that I should benefit others, Spreading Jewish values, positive universal values. Those are the things that have led us to have a YouTube channel that has more than 250,000 views on it. It's the weekly radio show, The Rabbi Show, with its own unique website. We do trips to Israel every single year. But my rabbi told me the most important commandment is to live life with joy as much as possible. Because if you have joy and enthusiasm and passion about life, if you really feel the Almighty's love at every corner, so then you will have the direction and the enthusiasm and the energy to fulfill all of the other commandments. And it came to pass, when Yitzhak had become old and his eyes dimmed from seeing, everybody has something they want. When you step into the world of young Israel Aish, and you are welcomed by the right kind of community for you, so then all of a sudden you have support. You have support in terms of your personal growth, your spiritual growth. You have people you can share the good times with in your life, and people who you can share the difficult times in your life. And the result that we've seen over and over again is the people who become part of our community, they just have a much greater sense of life fulfillment. They have a sense of friendship, of connection with community, of connection with others. When you walk in that door, you will be greeted with a smile and come straight up to me and say hello. You don't have to be bashful or shy. No one else around here is. You just walk up, say hello, introduce yourself to me. So I really hope that any person that, whether they read the book, they listen to the radio show, they come to Young Israel Aish, whether it's every single day or once a year, that they acquire a piece of wisdom that forever enhances and enriches their lives. Thank you so much for joining me today in Life is Great. You know, there are so many people that are benefiting from this television program, from the Rabbi Show radio program, our YouTube broadcasts, and reading my book, Life is Great. I want to thank all of you, and I want you to know that the only way we can continue to distribute and to do these programs are through your generous contributions to therabbishow.com. So I'd like to encourage you today to go to therabbishow.com and make some kind of donation. Everything is appreciated in order to help us continue to spread these positive values and enrich and enhance other people's lives. Thank you.